it's Leisha, your tech pal from Down Under, and the Lenovo Legion Go S has finally hit the market. So what exactly is this thing? So here's the breakdown. This is the Lenovo Legion Go, the first edition. Now enter the Legion Go S, the comfortable, ergonomically improved, and more portable edition. But there are two, and although they share the same design, there is a difference. I have the version here that is running Windows 11, but there is a version that also runs SteamOS. So let's talk about them. The Lenovo Legion Go S is a PC gaming handheld that gives you the ability to play games that you'd usually play on your PC, but in a smaller and more mobile format. This runs Windows 11 as the operating system, meaning that this is essentially a full computer in a tiny body. So what powers it? Introducing the AMD Ryzen Z2 Go chip with 4 cores and 8 threads. This little pocket rocket of a chip delivers powerful performance and efficiency designed specifically for handheld gaming devices. Working alongside the AMD Radeon GPU built on Zen 4 architecture and AMD RDNA 3 graphics, this enables high-performance gaming on the go. And with up to 32 gigabytes of RAM, this device is built for gamers who want to utilize different platforms, play different genres of games, and basically just use this as their main gaming device. It also has Wi-Fi 6E, and the version I have has 16 gigabytes of RAM. But if you're wondering what you get inside the box, it's pretty simple. The device is packaged inside of this foam that does have an outer sleeve with the Lenovo Legion branding, and then you also get the power adapter on the side too. So if you're not familiar with the PC handheld scene, what does something like this even offer? So given that this is a Windows device, it means it is running Windows 11 as its operating system. This essentially gives you a full PC inside of this tiny little package where you can still use apps like Mail, M365, Discord, so on and so forth. Whatever you would do on Windows 11 on a desktop, you can do it on here too. But from a gaming perspective, a Windows handheld does give you access to a bunch of different launchers. So if you do play games on Steam, Xbox Game Pass, Epic Games, and more, you can actually access all of those games from this handheld. So for gamers who do play a bunch of different games in different launchers, this device is made for you. It feels more like a complete PC gaming experience, especially because you can dock this and use your favorite peripherals and connect it to a big screen. To simplify the user experience, there is the Legion Space app, and that centralizes your games for you, regardless of what platform that you have them installed on. So I've got some games here from Steam and some from Xbox Game Pass, and it makes it so much easier to launch the game that I want to play without having to boot up the launcher. You can also access settings here too, adjust performance modes, and even controller and button mapping. But you can also do this via the quick access button, which is pre-programmed from factory, and I find that the easiest. With how great services like Xbox Game Pass have become these days, and of course the extremely huge range of games that are available on Steam, there is no limit to what you can play. And the best part is, we know that a lot of these games are optimized for controller usage these days, so you've got no issues booting them up on here. You're pretty much in and set to controller mode instantly for a lot of games. I won't say all, but there are a lot of games. For the more niche games out there that don't have this yet, you can still connect your keyboard and mouse either via Bluetooth or using a dock like what I have here, so you're not locked out of using this for certain games. Now, before I talk about the difference between each model of the Legion Go S, let's talk about the design, because I do have to say, this is probably my most favorite handheld that I've used, and I know that's a big claim, but I'll tell you why. PC handhelds can be pretty big and uncomfortable, especially for the small hand gang like me. And I've actually been saying recently on my Instagram stories that the Steam Deck feels super uncomfortable for me and does actually trigger my carpal tunnel. I just find that the buttons and the joysticks are really close to the edge, and it's just an uncomfortable experience for long term. But I am happy to report that the Lenovo Legion Go S feels so much more comfortable for me, right down from its shape and its curves, all the way down to the positioning of the buttons and the joysticks. A lot of the handhelds I've used over the years have never felt as comfortable as this, and I do think it is because of the way they are designed. Some other models do have some squared off edges, and I don't think that's quite comfortable for the hand, whereas this has some really nice curves. And it just sits really nicely in your hand when you're holding it. Nothing is stabbing the palm of your hand. Your hand can grip nicely over the edges, and for someone like me that does struggle because of the pains in my wrist, for long-term use, this hasn't bothered me at all. And that is a huge thing to say, because it is something that I really do struggle with. Even the Nintendo Switch 2, which has just come out, I can't hold that for long periods of time. Ergonomics are really important with a handheld, and I think they have done a really nice job of this. At least in my experience, I've had no hand fatigue, no wrist fatigue, and it just feels so comfortable to hold. The way the buttons and the joysticks are laid out as well, they do replicate an Xbox controller, which we know is a pretty common format for handhelds. However, I'm glad they didn't change it. It just suits the device so well and feels really comfortable to hold. The Legion Go S does have a range switch on the back, so you can adjust your triggers if you want a longer or shorter press, which can be really handy for certain games like shooters. Now, the display is an 8-inch Quad HD Plus display, and it does have 120 Hz with VRR as well as 500 nits of peak brightness. So it is a touchscreen as well, which makes it so much easier for Windows navigation. There is a little touchpad on the right-hand side that will bring up a cursor if you do need it. And the front does have two 2-watt speakers, so audio is directing at you when you are playing. Around the display are 4 function buttons, which I mentioned before, open the Legion Space software and the quick settings. And there is also an in-game menu button and a view button. Going back to the back though, the vents are across the back of the panel, intaking from there and releasing through the top vents. In my experience testing this, I find the cooling to be pretty good, and I've used some duds in the past that have physically burnt my hand. I'm happy to report that this has not burnt my hands and hasn't gotten too hot, even in performance modes, which is actually quite impressive. It is loud, of course, because it needs to be working hard to reduce that heat, but I think it does a pretty good job. Along the bottom, there's a micro SD card slot, and along the top, there's 2 USB-C 40 gigabits per second ports, allowing you to charge and use accessories. Of course, there's volume, power buttons too, and a headphone jack. And I just want to call out this tiny little feature. The little button, the power button, it does illuminate with the Legion logo. I think that is a really nice touch, and it changes colors based on the fans and the modes you're playing in. So if you do kick it up to performance, it turns red. But because of its size, it is the perfect device to take with you. You can game literally from anywhere with so much ease. Battery life, of course, is a concern when it comes to PC handhelds like this. Now, I will say this will be all dependent on the way you use it. So if you are playing more intense games that do need a bit more performance power as well as cooling, you're going to have the battery life maybe last a couple of hours. But for me, I think it's okay. I would love to see a little bit of an improvement with hours of play, but for now, it does the job for me. If I'm gaming longer than 3 to 4 hours, I need to be like dragged away from my console because I have work to do. It is so easy to pack this up and put it in your bag and take it on a flight, take it traveling, on a road trip, you name it. You can literally take this anywhere and you are ready to game. But now it's time for the real question. What is the difference between the Legion Go S Windows Edition and the Legion Go S SteamOS Edition? Each gamer want a different gaming experience. Some want more of a PC experience and some want more of a mobile console experience. So Lenovo have created 2 Legion Go S's, with one being, in my eyes, the first real competitor to a Steam Deck, because it is the Legion Go S running SteamOS. Now, for the tech lovers out there, obviously you know what the difference is here, but for those of you who might not know, this runs Windows, as in Windows software operating system that you will find on your PC. SteamOS is Steam's operating system, so you will jump straight in and you are essentially thrown into what is similar to Steam Big Picture. Now, SteamOS is a little more simpler for gamers, people who might not need to utilize the full power of a Windows device, or people who strictly only use Steam as their operating system. That is going to be the device for you. Now, the Windows version is for those of you who might be a bit more of an intense gamer or utilize multiple launchers. So even though I love SteamOS, I still love Xbox Game Pass. Now, I can't get Xbox Game Pass on a SteamOS console handheld, so I need to get something like this, the Windows Edition, so I can jump into Xbox Game Pass and use my subscription. So what if you're not really sure which way to go? The Windows 11 Legion Go S is a really great starting point for a few different reasons. So let's say you're new to a PC handheld and you're not really sure what games you want to play or what launchers you're going to use. So you test it out, you start to dabble in a bit of Xbox Game Pass and a bit of SteamOS, maybe even Epic Games or something else, but then you realize that all your games that you're playing are pretty much only running through Steam. And also the fact that you're not really using this as a PC, it's literally just to play games. So Lenovo have actually allowed users to install SteamOS on here. This means if you find you don't really want or use Windows 11, you can essentially replace that with SteamOS. That gives you more of a console-esque handheld experience that is focusing only on the one operating system, which in theory could maybe be a better experience for the kind of Steam gamer that you are. This is so good from a cost perspective for consumers because it means you only really need to buy the one device if you aren't sure which way you want to go. It gives you the option to test both, and then you have the ability to make the informed decision yourself. But if you are someone who dabbles a little bit more in the online shooter scene, the Windows 11 version does have full anti-cheat compatibility for games like Call of Duty and Fortnite, so that is something to keep in mind when you are making a decision on which one you want to buy. But each version of this handheld does have its place, and for users who want more of a complete experience and want more performance out of a handheld, this is the one for you. Switching to an AMD chip has actually been really nice because the last Windows handheld that I used had not AMD in there, to put it lightly. And the difference is noticeable. There is a bigger optimization for AMD mobile chips like this, and I think they do run so much better on handheld devices. The overall usability and efficiency is pretty noticeable when you have used both. So price point, you're looking at a starting price of $1,299 Australian. So I'll leave a link down below where you can check that out right after you hit the subscribe button, because I look forward to talking more tech with you in the next video.